What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
So Day Shift, the latest Netflix exclusive. This is directed by J.J. Perry. This is his directorial debut, and he's a stunt coordinator. He's been on movies like John Wick 2 and Warrior and Fate of the Furious, and got a bunch of stuff under his belt. And written by Tyler Tice and Shay Hatton. I'm only bringing that up because one of the writers is their first writing credit, and the other has done another Netflix exclusive, Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves, John Wick, Chapter 2, and a bunch of other stuff. So apparently, according to his credits, he's involved in a lot of the John Wick movies, and apparently this of the Dead franchise is getting a ton of fucking sequels and spinoffs. We got one, Army of the Dead Lost Vegas, Planet of the Dead. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But
oh shit.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I wanted to make this joke. This movie stars Jamie Foxx, and I don't know what he's got going on, but he must have sold his soul to fucking the Netflix executives, because like it seems like almost every fucking exclusive that they put out, he's involved in, as are these writers.
He's already talking about franchising this one out, like the Army of the Dead and Army of Thieves movies.
Right.
Sheesh.
Like every day.
What are you doing in my room?
Hunting vampires.
So this movie here, Day Shift, stars Jamie Foxx as our boy Bud Jablonski. And, he's just trying to make ends meet as a vampire hunter in the San Fernando Valley in California. He does this under the guise of being a pool cleaner. You know, every hunt, he takes out the fangs. He goes to his pawn shop boy. And
which they don't fucking explain at all. The movie should have explained why the fangs were actually worth money.
Well, listen, we'll get into that.
Okay, go ahead.
We'll get into that. There's things I wanted to say. But we also find out that there's like a vampire hunting union, and that's where the real money is. And he's trying to get back into the union.
He's basically pawn shopping the shit, right?
Yeah.
And he's not getting any official money.
He's not getting the full value that he could get. He's getting swindled and wheeled and dealed by
real bad
Peter Stormare. Love him. So he's trying to get back in the good graces of the union, which apparently the molecule of character development we get in this movie is to let us know that he has apparently gotten kicked out of the union because he goes a little bit too far. He's breaking all the union rules. And that's our plot. And we got Dave Franco in this movie as well as Seth, who's a union representative who has to follow Jamie Foxx along on his hunts to make sure he is abiding by the union rules once he gets invited back in.
Well, his wife's going to take his daughter and move town if he doesn't come up with some money. So he's a little desperate to get some cash.
Moving to Florida, of all places.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Why would you move there?
And we got Snoop Dogg in this movie as Big John Elliott. And they served together. They were partners in the union. The little subplot is the villain there is like an ancient vampire, and she's trying to take over or retake over the San Fernando Valley. And I didn't realize this. They mention it in the movie a couple times that the valley once belonged to the vampires. In fact, humans once worshipped vampires. I didn't realize her character name is Audrey San Fernando. So it seems like...
I didn't realize that either. I didn't even know her first name.
Yeah, I didn't either until I looked at the credits after the fact. But so apparently vampires, her clan or family or whatever, founded the San Fernando Valley, and she's trying to get it back. And Bud, in the beginning of the movie, kills this old lady vampire. Turns out it's our villain Audrey's daughter.
Surprisingly, yeah.
So she's pissed.
You're led to believe it's her mother.
Yeah, it was
Find out it's the daughter. It's like, oh shit.
It was a cool little twist.
Yeah.
You know, this movie, it's like when you're bored and you just want to do anything. This was that movie.
It's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. It's a good Friday movie to watch.
That's what I mean. It wasn't good by any stretch. And it
I
wasn't.
thought it was all right.
It wasn't bad. It just was. It was fun. I'll give it that. It was a fun movie.
Yeah, it was fun.
I really like vampire lore. I'm a big fan of like. I am a fan of vampire shit, and you know, anytime like a new writer or there's a video game or a movie or a show that deals with vampires, they always like introduce their own little spin on vampire lore.
Yeah.
And this one did something too, and I didn't know this, Marvin, but apparently when you get turned into a vampire, you immediately learn mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
And you're able
Franco just was turned into a beast.
Yo, that's like out of nowhere. He's just fucking doing spin kicks and shit. So it's pretty evident that the director of this movie is a, you know, stunt coordinator. They didn't let us forget that.
He just wanted to show off his yeah.
So
I mean, why was Franco suddenly considered a good vampire when all other vampires are just instantly murdered for profit and protection, of humans?
Why did anything happen?
We don't know.
Yeah, why did anything happen?
No.
I said it earlier when we were going over the plot, but there's like actually no character development in this movie.
Besides, like you said, we just know that Bud has a family that he has to save.
That's all you know.
And he
there's
got kicked
really
out.
not even a story either. There's just a plot and things happen.
Right. Yeah. And to take that further, the lack of character in this movie, there are no characters in this movie. There's literally Jamie Foxx, who's being Jamie Foxx. He was the same in this movie that he is in like interviews. So he was just doing nothing. He just showed up and talked. Snoop Dogg was literally fucking Snoop Dogg, except they just had him in a cowboy hat and like a trench coat.
God. Fighting in slow motion. I don't understand how he's doing the Matrix, but everybody else is going regular speed.
He's Big John, bro.
It's Big John.
They gave him a little fight scene. They should have just left it out because he was moving way too slow. They should have just let him spray down the room with the minigun and just that's it. No fighting for you, Snoop Dogg.
Dave Franco.
He's like 55 years old, isn't he?
Yeah.
Dave Franco was just Dave Franco.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think that's one of the weaknesses of the movie. There was like no fucking character development whatsoever.
I mean, are you watching it for character development? I think the action was pretty good, and it was pretty funny. It had some funny parts, so I think that's like why you watch this type of movie, not for like character development.
Yeah, but you don't need like
this was a lot like Red Notice. It's just like let's throw some big names in here. The story doesn't have to be great.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be great. Let's just make a fun action comedy. And
the soundtrack was dope. Cali shit.
The Cali soundtrack
was nothing
pretty good.
Groundbreaking about this movie. It was just
not
to
at
make
all.
some money.
Yeah,
but
But you could make a movie like this and also have like good characters. It doesn't have to be like fucking deep character. Like I'm not talking like Shawshank Redemption or nothing like that. But you know, you could have like a little bit of shit to them, to the personality, to like make you give a shit about people. You know, you asked like, well, why is Dave Franco suddenly a good? It's just, like, why?
No one else is given a single chance.
Why was his
instantly?
Why was
his neighbor too?
Yeah, I'm just about to say, why was his neighbor a good vampire? Like, what the fuck? We didn't even like learn anything about her. She's just like.
We just
good.
randomly found out she was hired or she was turned by Audrey.
Right.
Placed there on purpose.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she has a change of heart. Why did she have a change of heart?
I don't know. You don't know. That's that.
I think they said it, but
no, she's just like, oh, Audrey's crazy. Like she's going too crazy. Like, I don't know. It was just the most ridiculous shit.
And then why did he just trust her instantly? Oh, okay, cool. She's with us. She's good. Good. Another
this
good
is
one.
One of those.
Who knows?
I think one of those movies where you need plot devices for things to happen. Things just happen. There's no explanation.
Right.
It's just.
And that's why I said like that's where those are areas where like just a little bit of character development could like serve the movie that much better.
Yeah.
Because I mean, listen, the movie was fun, right?
Right.
But extremely forgettable. I don't actually think the action was like that good where I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it was just fun watching people get their heads sliced off and all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah, the Nazarian brothers were like the best part of the movie.
They were funny.
Their fight scene, that big fight scene where they were taking out that nest in the house was probably the best fight scene of the movie.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I don't really honestly think the comedy was really that good in this movie either. It was really just Jamie Foxx. being
It was
Jamie
like
Foxx.
chuckle. It was like a chuckle
Yeah.
comedy. Like it
couple
wasn't
laughs,
really
couple
like
chuckles. Yeah, nothing. No gut busters.
There was a cool scene though that looked like a nod to, the old movie Held Up, Jamie Foxx's old movie.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's like an old comedy movie. So basically, there's a scene in Held Up where Jamie Foxx gets a Dorito stuck in his cheek after this microwave explodes.
Okay.
But in this movie, in this case, it was actually a shard of glass that got stuck into it.
Okay.
And he pulled it out the exact same way. So I thought that was like a nod to that.
There was also a nod to.
I forgot about that.
There was also a nod to a classic vampire movie, The Lost Boys. Fantastic movie. The very end of this movie, Snoop Dogg comes out of the sewer and he says, "One thing I love about L.A., all the damn vampires." Well, in Lost Boys, the grandpa in the movie with the character, he says, "One thing about living in Santa Carla, I never could stomach all the damn vampires." So it was like a callback to that.
So Snoop Dogg definitely should have died, right? And then he said what you said about the vampires.
Yeah.
So was he just a vampire this entire time?
No idea.
It seems like he's like, why would he say I guess he makes money off the vampires?
Yeah, no, he just likes vampire hunting.
I don't know, dude. The way he survived, it's like, dude, this guy's a vampire.
Well, he didn't do anything. He had this like light bomb that went off, so why would he have died? He did survive the neck bite, but
that was a big explosion just to be light.
Up in the Matrix there for a little bit with his combat skills.
Who knows? Literally no reason for anything. It's just Jamie Foxx got to get his, he's got his...
Maybe that's the subtle brilliance of this movie is that we don't know anything, so we're left to discuss and
in a couple years,
one of those. Well, they're making a franchise, so they'll give us some lore. But going back to the Fangs,
maybe
right?
Maybe we'll just get more of the same.
Back to the Fangs, we get no explanation why they're worth money. As the viewers, we just accept. We kind of gotta accept the shit. Like, okay, there's these old ass teeth, these vampires. They're just worth something, I guess. Who's buying these fangs and for what?
I don't know, but the only reason any collectible has value is the amount of money somebody's willing to pay for it. But like you said, why are people paying for these things? We don't know. Don't know nothing.
We don't know.
The union, I'm assuming, exists to like control the spread of vampires. But again, that's completely left up to you to decide. There's just no. But and
I guess that's just the proof of killing.
And again, back to my complaint is like character development and story stuff could have really made this movie like actually really good, I think, because those are fun things to learn. Like, why does the union exist? How did the union come into play? Like, that's a cool concept for a vampire movie, like a union of vampire hunters. And it's like very, it's like just being an electrician union, a fucking anything. So
that's cool.
It was just a cool premise that they could have explored, but it was just like a plot point of like, oh yeah, he's got to be in the union to make more money. Why does he have to make more money? Oh, my wife's gonna move my daughter to Florida, which that's like his. He basically he's fucking Vin Diesel playing Groot in this movie, and instead of saying I am Groot, he's saying my wife's gonna take my daughter to Florida. To everything, yo, what'd you have for lunch? My wife's taking my daughter to Florida. It was just like constantly repeated. It's like, okay, we get it. And the other thing I don't understand too is like the one piece of character stuff they like hint at is that like his marriage fell apart because he's like lying and covering shit up and being shady and he's late for stuff, all because he's a vampire hunter.
Yeah. Why
the fuck was he covering that up the whole time when we literally see at the end, he's like, oh, hey, babe, I hunt vampires. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, why what was the big deal? He could have said it to her like years ago. Like, hey, by the way, I don't clean pools. I hunt vampires. So
I don't know.
It was clearly not a point of contention for her. She was just like, oh, you should have just told me that hours ago. We would have been fine.
Right. But that was only because she was like kidnapped by a vampire at that point. So it's more, she can believe it because she's seen it.
Sure. I guess.
She'll have time to process and stew on it later.
Yeah.
Right. And they talked about the, like the sunscreen, right? The special sunscreen.
Didn't know how it was being made.
No, nothing about it. We just saw it like twice. We saw it in the Hive. They had a bunch of boxes of it.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
bunch
there's
of
a
other
lot of stuff
but it
in this
wasn't.
movie. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, well, that's interesting. I wonder what's gonna happen with that. And
The sunscreen
like
never
everything else in
referenced
there.
again. It's just
nothing. Just nothing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It was just like that, and that was the whole movie. Like the whole time you're watching it, you're like, "Oh, that's cool."
Here's a little tease.
I'm never gonna hear about
it
that again.
seems like a setup
it was
for
nothing.
the
Fooled
franchise.
you.
It just seems like a setup for the franchise.
It's
Like,
not a setup for the franchise. You're
these
giving
different
it.
movies are probably gonna have like explanations of these different things, these spin-offs.
Listen to me.
They're gonna
Well, they
go
kinda
into some
have
detail
to
here,
now.
some detail there.
Listen to me.
Maybe a show here, a little show there.
This is not happening.
It's the vampire verse.
No, not happening. This movie was not made with that in mind at all. Guaranteed. It was just not. It's just not. They were like,
It's
okay,
not that deep.
no, they were like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna make a movie that has action. They apparently had no budget for special effects. I don't know if you guys saw those fucking explosions, but it was literally like they went to YouTube and typed in green screen explosions and then used those because the fucking special effects of the movie were terrible.
Yeah.
Even like the fucking, when he was like on the guns, what do you call that? The fucking flames coming out of the guns.
Muzzle flash.
Muzzle flash. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. The muzzle flash was fucking awful. So they literally were just like, all right, let's make a movie that has some action in it and like, throw jokes in and then we'll go home, call it a day. Final thoughts here.
I got no final thoughts. We covered it all, I think.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies that you'll watch like to pass the time. I tried to make that analogy earlier. You sit there bored and you're like, I don't know, am I bored or am I hungry? I guess I'll eat something. But you're eating because you're bored. This is that type of movie.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just watch this. It's got Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's definitely no reason to ever watch this again. It's like, it's not nothing you probably missed or anything. Like,
a lot of times when we do
watch it once, that's it.
We do these reviews. We talk about like, the actors and stuff like that. I can't even like sit here and be like, oh yeah, Jamie Foxx was great in this movie or Snoop Dogg. They didn't do anything. They were just being themselves, like literally.
Yeah, literally.
Snoop Dogg showed up in this movie and obviously got out of the car and, in a plume of weed smoke. Naturally, it's like the Snoop Dogg thing. I guarantee you that was real, and they just shot it. Like I bet you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I bet you he just rolled up to set and was like, "All right, let's do this shit." And they're like, "All right, we got our take. Let's go home, boys." So I don't know.
That's it.
This has got a 6.1 on IMDb. I would give it. I would probably give it like a 6, something like that. Probably maybe less.
Give it a 6.
I'm going 5.5. That's my number.
I'll give it a 6.
Fun, forgettable 5.
Yeah, there you go. The three Fs. Even the things that it should have done, like the comedy and the action, wasn't even that great. I don't think. Like it was all very like just cookie cutter stuff. The thing that I laughed at the most, the thing that made me laugh the most, because like you said, there was little chuckles here and there throughout the movie, but the one when is when they were in the nest. And he goes, "This motherfucker just threw me up the stairs." That was funny. That was funny. But that's Jamie Foxx's like wheelhouse right there. And I don't understand. Like they just didn't utilize any of that. That was funny.
Right.
I would love to know if that was written or if he just kind of like ad-libbed that.
Ad-libbed it. Yeah.
But that was funny. This motherfucker just threw me up the stairs. So I don't know. There you have it, folks. Day Shift. The 3 Fs. Fun, forgettable 5, but fun, there's like an asterisk next to that. Please be sure to go ahead and check out our website, harshlanguage.tv. Once again, if you haven't, follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the bell button. Get notified for all future videos.
Do it.
Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Hasta.